What's up, my beautiful people? Welcome back to Demon Reads Comics. Today we're going to talk about Kill or Be Killed. Finally, this book came in. It felt like it took like 3 weeks to get here when I ordered it from In-Stock Trades. But anyway, so I did pick it up in the Compendium trade paperback edition. Well, I guess there's trade paperback, there's hardcover, and then there's a Compendium, which is softcover. So it's actually a Compendium softcover. The hardcover edition, deluxe edition, is like, I don't know, like $200 I was seeing. It was crazy, the amount of money for it. So I did end up picking it up in Compendium edition. So anyway, yeah, Kill or Be Killed by Ed Brubaker and Sean Phillips. And I believe the colors are by, give me one, oh, there we go, Elizabeth Brutweiser. And it is published by Image Comics. And it is, you know, because it is Compendium and a soft cover, it is glued binding. Now, I did read this book once through, and the fortunate part about it is there's no creasing in the back. For some reason, when I read through Fatale, and it was also a Compendium, just one read through, and there was like a crease already going through the back. I don't know if it's because this one I did not open like all the way like a book should. I kind of curved it a little bit. But anyway, so yeah, today we're going to talk about Kill or Be Killed by Ed Brubaker and Sean Phillips. This book is actually a very, very good book, but I had a few problems with it. And while I do want to say that, I'll talk about that here in a little bit. Towards the end of this, well, first what we're going to do is we're going to do this. We're doing what we're doing. Then we're going to do a little bit about the plot so you guys can also see and crack open the book so you guys can see the art. Then I'll give my rating and talk about what I didn't like about it and what I did like about it. So let's go ahead and crack this book open so you guys can see the art and talk about a little bit about the story. All right, guys. So what is Kill or Be Killed about? Well, the story takes place in New York, and it has to do with this guy right here. His name is Dylan. And what's the story of this book? It's kind of hard to explain a little bit because it kind of starts off like towards the end-ish of the book. It's almost like Ed Brubaker and Sean Phillips did like in the Reckless series that I did. They always kind of started like in the end, and then they kind of went back and told the story before we got there. And while at first it was okay with that, it kind of felt like they were doing that in a lot of the issues, and I wasn't a big fan of that. So what is the overall story of Kill or Be Killed? Well, it takes place, like I said, in New York, and it has to do with Dylan. He's like 28 years old, and he was going to college, but he started having some like mental breakdown. He stopped and then went back. Now he's going back to college, but his life's not going so well. He's on medication. He's living with a roommate, but that roommate is kind of dating his best friend that he likes, and his life's kind of spiraling. So he tries to take his own life. He tries to commit suicide, and from there he actually doesn't die. And when he doesn't die, he goes back to his room, kind of sits there, kind of thinks, you know, he's happy that he didn't die. But eventually, like, this shadowy demon kind of comes into play. Let me see if I can find a picture of it. Yeah, right here. This kind of shadowy figure demon comes to him and tells him, hey, you know what? You tried to take your life, and from now on, what your penalty is, you have to pay us now. You have to start paying us 1 life per month. And if not, we're going to come back and take your life. So that's how it goes. Every month he has to plan on taking a life, or else somebody's going to take, or this is going to come back and take his life. What's weird is he doesn't believe it at first, but eventually when the days start kind of coming down to that month, he starts getting really sick. He gets beat up bad, and he starts thinking, okay, whatever this shadowy demon figure was, it might be real. So he's kind of having like this existential crisis where he doesn't want to believe it's real, but he thinks it is. And so he goes out and finds people that deserve to be
killed. But then I kind of started thinking to myself, how does, who is he to be judge, jury, and executioner? Who is he to say what person deserves to be RIP'd and things like that? So that's kind of what I didn't like about this book. And throughout the book, he does find people, some things happen to him. And at the end of it, at the same time, we find out a little bit about his background. His dad saw it too. Maybe he didn't. It's just a lot of things happen in it, in the sense that, or I'm sorry, a lot of things happen in this story in the sense that a lot of things could have been taken out and it still would have been a great book. And that's the issue I kind of had with it. A lot of the story was great. I loved the artwork. I absolutely loved it. I always loved Eddie Brubaker's work, with storytelling, and I love Sean Phillips' artwork. But at the same time, the ending, which I'm not going to give away because it is kind of like, oh wow, the ending felt kind of rushed towards the end, and I didn't like how it ended. There's another thing that happens at the end that I'm not going to spoil, aside from how it ended, that they kind of put in there that I absolutely also hated as well. Two things at the end. First and foremost, like I said, I didn't like how it ended. They added an extra thing at the end. That's not a spoiler. I'm sorry, that's not a twist, that I didn't like how it ended as well. And then it kind of left it open-ended. Meaning, do you know what's going to happen next, don't we? And what really kind of ticked me off about this story is we never really find out if that demon shadowy figure was real, if it was a hallucination, or if it was all in his mind the whole time, because he is dealing with mental illness. And this book really is about this whole mental illness thing. In a nutshell, it's kind of a story about mental illness in itself, but it kind of throws it in your face too much. And while you can relate to Dylan for the most part, it doesn't really explain, how do I put it without putting too much spoilers? It doesn't really explain how some certain events go from him to another person, if that makes sense. And so that's why I didn't like the story towards the end. I love the story overall, but the ending was just not for me. I did not like it. I didn't like how it ended because it kind of left it with a lot of unanswered questions and a lot of, maybe they could have took this out. Maybe they could have, done without this. And it felt really rushed. Don't get me wrong. The story is freaking amazing. The art is freaking amazing to look at. But it's just, there was a lot of things in here that wasn't the best for me, in my opinion. But, it's just my opinion. There's some people out there that absolutely love this book. There's a lot of people that don't. As far as Ed Brubaker and Sean Phillips' work goes, this is top tier. This is top tier for a lot of people. For me, it's up there. I'm not gonna lie. It really is up there. Right now I'm just kind of grabbing a big chunk of pages and kind of flipping through it, so you guys can just see the artwork. Hopefully I don't flip to a page where there is a little bit of nudity in here, and hopefully I don't flip to a page where it shows spoiler. But yeah, this is pretty much the amazing art. What I really liked about the art, though, because I actually did take my time in it this time. Don't get me wrong, I take my time in it, but after a while, like when I start reading and reading and reading, I kind of start reading and kind of start skipping the panels. I don't do it purposely, but I just kind of do it. And by the time I get like done with like 4 or 5 pages, I was like, wait, what? And then kind of have to go back and reread it again. This time, I kind of read everything and stopped and looked at the panel for a long while and then moved on. And I did take my time with it like that. What I liked about it was the facial expressions. A lot of the facial expressions made sense to me, how they looked and things like that. Now, one thing I don't like about this is a lot of it is narrated. All these yellow is narration. That's all it is. That's one thing I couldn't, get into with this book was the narration. A lot of it is narration. It's not really like people talking. Like, yeah, here we get people talking, but the narration. People talking, narration, people talking, and then the next page, it's complete narration. I don't mind that narration part because it is explaining things, but it's like, it's a person telling a story of what's happening. Now, what really pissed me off about this is, yes, it's all narration, but because it's Dylan. Okay, so a little bit of spoiler. It is Dylan narrating this. So when you're reading this, do you think that he's going to survive and is going to be good at the end, or don't you? A lot of people are going to be like, well, if he's narrating, of course, right? And then of course, that's what I thought. That's what I think when I was reading it. But when I got to the end, I was like, okay, this is completely stupid. So I'm not going to give anything away with that, but I wasn't a big fan of the narration at all. There's also a lot of, I seen people call it this, but it was like social something like that, where they kind of cram a lot of a particular thing in your face all the time. And I think it has to do with like the way the world works. They kind of throw that in your face a lot. How the world is an ugly place and you just kind of have to deal with it. It from start to finish, it was always put in there in every single issue. And yeah, they kind of overdid it with that. So yeah, overall, this story was amazing. I hope I didn't give too much away. I know I went into a little bit more detail than I do most other books, because I kind of decided I can't just give you guys a small little synopsis and go from there, because you're going to be like, well, did you actually read it or not? So yeah, I read the whole thing, but I don't know. I wasn't the biggest fan of it. So anyway, what I'm going to do is I'm going to flip towards the end. Give me 1 second. There we go. I didn't want to give like the end away. So these are the cover arts for the chapters, because, hold on, let me go. There we go. Every single time an issue stopped and you know there was a new one, instead of putting the cover art for the issues, they put this red page in, and which is okay, you know, let you know that another issue is starting. But they didn't put the cover art, but they did include them at the end. So I'm just gonna go ahead and flip through them for you guys real quick. The cover art was amazing, actually. What's funny and what was an interesting idea, real quick, is I believe it was Sean Phillips that wrote this. How he was in charge of doing all the cover arts and things like that, but he didn't know what to write because Ed Brubaker hasn't written what the story was going to be about yet. So he was kind of giving him like a little hint of what he was going to write, and Sean Phillips kind of had to go off of that and then show it to Ed Brubaker to see if he liked it. And I thought that was so amazing how these cover arts came to be just from a thought and not like something that's already written down. Like, okay, this is what this story is going to be about. Let's go ahead and take Dylan and make him do this. No, it was just like, I think this issue is going to be about this, so let's make the cover like this. I thought that was very interesting. But anyway, these cover arts are very amazing. I want to say something about her, but at the same time, I don't. Like, I don't know if she's a good person overall, or if she is. And the reason I say that is because she does certain things in this story, or in this book in general, that kind of make you second guess her. Like, she is great overall, but is she really that great? I don't know. Her name is Kira, by the way, and she is a love interest of Dylan, but I don't know if I want to like her. I don't. And that really got to me. There's another person in here that they introduce, and I understand why they introduced that person, and I do like her, but there's a lot of things that she does that makes no sense. Like, she's a detective, but the type of reasoning behind certain things that she does makes no sense to me. I'm sorry, I'm just kind of going a little bit deeper into it, which I shouldn't do, but I'm sorry. But yeah, these cover arts are amazing. This is also Kira. She never gets the gun. I don't know why they did that, but she did change her hair though. Here's that demon monster thing. Like I said, we don't ever find out if it's real, if it's a hallucination, if it's an actual demon possessing people. We don't ever know. They leave that up for interpretation. But overall, it was a good story. Some of these cover arts are a little bit of a spoiler, so. And here's the rest of the books that, you know, Sean Phillips and Ed Brubaker had came out with so far. I have read the Fade Out. I do keep that top tier so far up there. like in my ranking of all these, minus, I think I haven't read this one. I haven't read this one or this one. So these three, which is Night Fever, House of the Unholy, and Pulp, I can't put into my ranking so far because I haven't read them. But I read The Fade Out, an absolute amazing book. I cannot recommend that enough. And that is my first top tier. And then I'll give it to the Criminal franchise. Though not franchise, but the Criminal stories. They came out with 3 deluxe that covers every single one of these stories. So I did read them all. So I put Fade Out, Criminal, and then I'm probably going to put the Reckless stories right below that. Right below the Criminal. So it'll be, this is number 1. Criminal is number 2. The Reckless series is number 3. I'm going to put Kill or Be Killed as number 4. And then Fatale as number 5. I can't put these these 3 in there yet. Or I'm sorry, 4. Where the Body Was. I haven't read that either. In what I give them as ranking. But yeah, that's what I think about this so far. So anyway, there's an afterwards where hold on, let's see. I never really asked where stories. Actually, you know what? To be honest with you, I didn't really read this part actually, because after I was done reading, I was like, okay, because I've read the biography so many times, so the afterwards, like I don't even know who's talking, if it's Ed Brubaker or Sean Phillips or anything like that. So that's why I don't really read it, because it doesn't say it at the end. And I read these biographies a few times already. So anyway, that's it right there. That's Criminal. It does go for $59.99, as you guys can see. I didn't pick it up for that. I picked it up for a lot cheaper. But anyway, let's go ahead and do the my rating for this book. All right, guys. So what is my rating for Kill or Be Killed? This is kind of a hard one because I did like the book a lot, and I am definitely going to keep it. But it was just, it's hard to give an opinion and give a rating to a book like this, because it's so open-ended, and it's just a lot of things leave you unanswered. A lot of things don't really get explained, but the overall story was fan-freaking-tastic. I highly recommend writing this book if you're a fan of Ed Brubaker and Sean Phillips. The art is amazing as well. So all that being said, I want to give this an 8. I'm going to give this an 8 for sure. Not a 9, because I didn't like how the book ended. It did draw me in at times, but because it was too repetitive at points, that's why I'm giving it an 8. If it wasn't repetitive, if it wasn't so narrative driven, and if it didn't feel so rushed at the end, and the way it ended was different, I would have definitely given this a 9 or a 10. But those simple little things for me just kind of didn't work. But in overall, it's still an overall great story. I highly recommend you guys read it. And for me, like I said, it's an 8, and I'm definitely going to keep this book. If they ever do a reprint of the deluxe editions, I'm definitely going to pick up the deluxe edition and get rid of the compendium. But for now, I'm happy with the compendium. So, a quick overview again: Kill or Be Killed, Ed Brubaker, Sean Phillips, colors by Elizabeth. I was going to say Melissa, that's why I looked again. Elizabeth Brutweiser, published by Image Comics, and it is glue binding because it is soft cover. So I hope you guys like the review. I know I went a little deeper into it than I have been with the last few ones. Like I said, maybe I want to throw a little bit more extra stuff in the review, just so you guys know for a fact that I'm reading it and not just being like, oh yeah, well, this is about this. Good luck. No, at some point in time, I've kind of started noticing, I've been seeing other reviews where a person does a review, and it kind of seems like they're doing the review, but based off the synopsis that they read before they picked up the book, like online. Like if you go online and read the synopsis about this book, it'll tell you kind of what it's about. And I feel like a lot of people do that. They just kind of read the synopsis and maybe not read the book. So I was like, you know what? I want to add a little extra in there for myself so people know that I understood the book, that I read it, and that if I liked it or not. So that's why I started adding that little extra, and which I think I'm going to start doing from now on. Adding a little extra to the synopsises. That way you guys know that I read it and really know what I'm talking about. So I hope you guys liked the review. If you guys did, give me a thumbs up. Really helps. Let me know what you guys think of this book. So, if you guys loved it, if you guys didn't, if you guys had an issue with it. Try not to give no spoilers away, for people that haven't read it. But let me know what you guys think. Let me know what you guys think of the
of all the Brubaker and Sean Phillips series so far, like which book was your favorite, which one was your least favorite, as well as give me some more, like throw some books out there for me, not just from Sean Phillips and Ned Brubaker, but give me some, other books, some ideas of what books you guys would like me to read next. I do have a big pile of books, and I have a whole bunch, getting ready to buy again, like another 40. So let me know what you guys think, what you guys recommend me read, and I'll try my best to look into it, see if it's something I'm into, and I'll definitely pick it up or not. And, if you guys haven't done so, please subscribe to my channel. It really helps build my channel and put my videos out there for other people to see. I know people have done reviews for this book plenty of times. I'm just doing my review on it. So, like I said, doing the likes and the comments and subscribing to my channel does help get my channel out there for people to view the videos and make their decision if they should pick the book up or not. Whether they see it from me or any other person, it still will help them. So, all that being said, guys, we'll see you on the next one.